Good morning, folks, and welcome back to Almus Market Mornings. Due to the US government shutdown, a lot of the data we would usually have discussed today has not been released, but there's plenty of interesting things going on around the world. Japan's ruling party, the LDP, elected Sanae Takaichi as its leader. She's the first female to be the leader of the LDP, and if confirmed in a parliamentary vote, she might become the first female prime minister of Japan as well. She's known for her pro-stimulus plans, and that's why we have been seeing this big weakness in yen today morning. It's down more than 1.5% against the dollar and trading close to the 150 mark. The Nikkei index, meanwhile, has jumped more than 4%. When it comes to other markets, gold once again at record highs. It has crossed the $3,900 mark. And there's some rise in oil prices due to the lower than expected production hike by OPEC. Good morning, GK. What are the key things you would be watching out for this week?
Good morning, Swaraj. Yes, as you said, government shutdown, and we have very little updates on the US economy until it reopens. And this week, ideally, we would have had the US CPI on Friday, and that is not going to be there. So, in the absence of that, the only dates updates that we would be getting will be on the Michigan consumer sentiment preliminary reading, and also the various Fed speakers. That's all that we can latch on to. Hopefully, the shutdown ends and we can get a more clear update on the US economy. Yes, quite a good number of developments. So overnight, the Japanese leadership contest has been resolved, and they are likely to have, and it's not yet concluded, it's likely to have uh, woman PM for the first time, known for fiscal largesse. And what's worrying for me, of course, is that she's also an anti-immigrant. So her policies is more against illegal as well as legal immigration. So that is something that the world is looking up to, because this is a protectionist policy that is slowly spreading everywhere. In fact, last week there was also a news that Europe will be imposing 50% duty on steel imports, which above quota levels as high as 50%. So that's also another sign of protectionism that is spreading. So, having been started by Mr. Trump earlier in the year. Yes, on the other development, of course, gold now 3920. 3920 is exactly $2,000 higher from the previous large cycle peak, which was hit in 2011. That was 1920, and 1920. Say we had gone almost to $1,000 as a correction, 1,100, I think, and so we are $2,000 up from there. We're exactly 50% high from the year low also. So it's a quite a big movement. None of this indicates that we are reversing. Market seems to be catching even more momentum as it goes higher, but one should be cautious because the move has been too large. At some point, we can have a good amount of profit taking without spoiling the underlying uptrend in the gold. Of course, on the Japanese side, also one more thing apart from the Japanese yen movement closer to 150, as well as astounding rally in Japanese Nikkei by 4.5%. I'm closely watching the bond yields. The 30-year Japanese bond yield has hit 3.29%. That's a new all-time high. Now, the bond yields in other regions have been somewhat subdued after the Fed rate cut and inflation not shooting up. But then that I don't think we are going to stay that low because everywhere there is a fiscal problem, and eventually the big debt that the US government runs will also push the yields higher. It's only a pause that I'm seeing, or maybe some safe haven buying that is happening in view of the slight setback to the economy that we have been watching. Yes, in the absence of labor market data on Friday, we saw the ISM survey, and the ISM PMI fell to exactly 50, the dividing line between contraction and expansion, from 52 in August. So that's quite a big bit of a downturn for the services sector that had been holding up the economy despite the manufacturing contraction. Business activity was down from 55 to 49.9. New orders was slumping at 50.4 versus 56. Employment continued in contraction, and the prices paid were also higher, highest at 69.4 since October 2022. So if you put together all these numbers, it looks like a stagflationary situation that is beginning in the US economy. Of course, it's only one single data, and of course, we'll have to see more data, but particularly on the inflation as and when it is released. So this is the largest drop since March, and the I don't know how the policymakers are going to react if it continues to be sliding in this manner. On the outside of US, we have of course had the court cases. Apart from the data, we also have some court updates. That is, Lisa Cooks has been allowed to stay on as Federal Reserve Governor, which is a setback to Donald Trump in his fight with the central bank. Then also had a group of employers, unions, and religious groups filing a lawsuit against Trump's bid to impose 1 lakh visa fee on H-1Bs, and that will be heard in the federal court in San Francisco. This is the first challenge, and people are expecting more challenges to this rule. And more interestingly, there is a survey, or rather poll, that has been taken, which shows that the Supreme Court's ruling on Trump tariff, which is due on November 5, shows that odds are now only 42% that it will be ruled in favor of Trump's favor, and some economists are even suggesting that the chances are more likely to be 20 to 30%. So it doesn't mean Trump tariffs will go away, but that will be a temporary setback. Then they will find some way to impose a tariff in taking on some other provisions in the law. OPEC, of course, continued a series of its output hike, but it was lower than expected. So we can see some relief rally in the in the crude prices as well. On the dollar index, barring the yen, which has moved towards 150, other currencies have remained in the range in the absence of more clues about the US economy. And this week promises to be kind of more data from other regions than the US. Obviously, because of the shutdown. On the Indian rupee, again, 8880 is being severely tested as the flows continue to be negative, although not very large. And then, despite expectation of some inflows due to the IPOs, which are starting today, large IPOs that are starting today. Market also recovered last week, posted a gain of nearly 1% in the major index that is being tracked in the NSE index. However, it has still not shown a turn for a bullish run. And I think early earnings report that are started to trickle in, that will be a major factor to watch on for the markets. And in the meantime, the exporters continue to hold back, and flows being negative from FIIs. I think retracement for the INR is very limited. But there are some couple of news that on the Indian side that we'll be watching. UK PM is visiting to discuss the India-UK comprehensive strategic partnership. And this also includes the trade, final trade deal as well. And in fact, it will be a meeting between the two prime ministers that will be closely watched. And India and the European Union also gear up for the 14th round of free trade agreement, and October 6th, that will be in Brussels. I think a lot of European companies, as per the report, which are operating in India, are looking at India's Make in India mission, which is likely to attract more investments because I think Europe is also more keen to divert its investments. So it's good news for India, but that's all medium-term factor. Rupee, I expect it to move between and it move in a very narrow range. Perhaps 88.60 would be the best case for INR to come down to, and 88.80 tentatively holding, because if RBI moves away under the weight of any large outflows, then we could see 89 as well. That's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, JK. And just quickly summarizing, as we discussed, a good rise in gold prices, trading above $3,900, with the updates from Japan coming in and the protectionist policies by the potential prime minister. It seems Japanese equities have rallied quite a bit. The 30-year Japanese yields, interestingly, has risen significantly. It's up 12 basis points at 3.22%. So that's a market to watch out for in the coming few days. When it comes to US, because of the government shutdown, there is limited data. Fed speakers and the Michigan consumer sentiment would be the only inputs we get this week. When it comes to domestic markets, dollar rupee held below 88.80. It's a significant area of interest since multiple times it has been tested and it has been protected aggressively by the central bank. So we'll watch how this week pans out and if we get any further updates, especially if the US government shutdown gets resolved or not. That's it from us today. Thanks for listening. We'll catch up tomorrow with the fresh round of updates.